the politics of the day. And with me, David Gazzard and Ben Oquist, our regular discussion gentlemen. I'll tell you what, drama for Tiger Woods, but drama for the government. Linda Reynolds, the Defence Minister, in hospital as we speak. We wish her all the very best. It's been a very difficult couple of weeks there, David Gazzard.
It has. I mean, who would want to be mixed up in that? It's got everything that normally is adjudicated by the police and the courts, and it's spilled over into politics, even though Linda Reynolds, as Defence Minister, other than her office being the site of it, had nothing to do with it. So cleaning that up and dealing with what is probably a really personal set of issues involving a staff member would have been distressing, and being attacked in the Parliament over it would have been even more distressing. So I sympathy to her, along with all the people that have been in this case.
And Brittany Higgins herself, in a very gracious statement, said wishes Linda Reynolds all the very best. Continues to make the case for reform for vulnerable staffers who find themselves in a difficult position. And Linda Reynolds was meant to be at the press club today. So she's in hospital, but also there was the cancellation of what would have been a high-stakes appearance for her.
Well, these allegations are continuing to rock Parliament and rock politics, as they should. I mean, it's a shocking allegation, a shocking situation, and we've still got to get to the bottom of actually what happened and why it wasn't dealt with and who knew what when. Yes, there's the cultural questions, but a crime as serious as this to be allegedly occur in a minister's office in itself the bottom needs to be got to of it all. I agree with you about Brittany Higgins' statement. I thought that was very gracious, and it was a bit of a standout for me. And yes, sympathies to the Defence Minister. But if you're the government, you would be tearing your hair apart about what a shocking state of affairs it seems to have got itself in, and you'd be wanting the back of the last question time of the fortnight tomorrow. A week that I presume the Prime Minister started off thinking was pretty good.
Yeah.
That vaccine, the V for victory, and now there are questions over the vaccine rollout and this. Let's put it this way: the more we hear about the allegations and who knew what when, the more questions seem to be needed to be answered.
Yeah, and there's that tweet that Ben Oquist and I were alluding to from Brittany Higgins on the screen now. But David Gazzard, the Home Affairs Minister, was briefed by the Federal Police Commissioner on the 11th of February. It goes to some of the, the timing of it. We're advised that the Minister did tell the PMO on the 12th, and that's the day that the Prime Minister said that they became aware. That was also the day that a journalist made inquiries on that day, the 12th of February. But there were others, like Linda Reynolds, but then also the other Minister, Michaelia Cash, who knew longer than that. Michaelia Cash from the 5th of February.
This is where we've got hundreds of years of case law, and the proper place to get to the bottom of these things is a police investigation. That is what they do. And part of the problem here is that Brittany did not want to go to the police. And so Linda respected her wishes. And part of the reason this has become entangled is that the police have not been able to investigate this to get to the bottom of affairs at the requests of the victim. So, I mean, the best thing that's happened this week is signs that Brittany is going to take this to the police.
She's made the statement to Federal Police today, apparently, this afternoon.
That is a good development. I think everybody welcomes that.
One thing that the Prime Minister didn't welcome was the defection of Craig Kelly. What's your take on that? It makes the balance a bit more difficult. Yeah, only if Craig Kelly decides he's going to cross the floor, and assurances apparently have been made that he won't. He's not going to block supply. But let's face it, this has been a delicately poised lower house for some time, and within that rubric, you're a heart attack away from testing supply, right? Which the opposition haven't done because they probably think they can't actually do that. There's an independent, and of course you've got the Speaker who can vote on tied bills. So there is some way to go. But it was, I think, heartening to the government to hear that Craig was not going to cross the floor.
A couple of things here is that Yes, I'm sure the government's happy that Craig's not crossing the floor, but it's a tight parliament now. It's theoretical lock 75-75 once you take the Speaker out. And as a couple of people have pointed out this morning, I think Dennis Shanahan in particular, it's empowered every rogue, renegade, grumpy MP on the coalition backbench. They've now got more power, and that's a difficult dynamic for a Prime Minister. Secondly, I think surely some lessons are going to be learnt out of this, is that kind of pandering to these kind of, well, let's be honest about it, right-wing kind of wingnuts like Craig Kelly doesn't get you anywhere in the end. This guy kind of helped wreck climate policy under Malcolm Turnbull. Malcolm Turnbull saved his pre-selection. Scott Morrison saved his pre-selection. We've kind of given a great deal of airing to kind of pretty crazy views on climate change, and in the end, it all comes back to bite you anyway.
Quickly, a minute left, but Facebook looks like the deals, well, they are being done. Seven West Media the first, and a big win for Josh Frydenberg.
Win for Josh, but also a win, I think, for Facebook. And I've got to declare we've done some work for Facebook on this. There are amendments going to go before the Senate that they felt were significant. I think Facebook's position on this has been that, you know, it sees this as globally precedent-setting, and so it wanted to make sure it got that right. And agreeing and backing the government's code in the end showed that they felt that was in the right place. But both sides gave ground.
I think the legislation will pass the Senate in the next hour or so. Yeah, a big win for Frydenberg, a big win for Rod Sims, and the ACCC have pursued this. Big win for politics. It's tripartisan support to get this regulation up. A big win in the end for journalism, a big win for democracy, a big win for the power of regulating big tech. Bottom 20% get nothing. They're really unfair tax cuts.
People want to see much stronger action from the government when it comes to climate change.
It's no coincidence that we have a wages crisis in Australia.
Transitioning to net zero emissions, it doesn't seem like there's much room for gas.